We're two hitchhikers. We met while hiking Mount Baldy with mutual friends, wasted no time, got engaged on a frozen alpine lake, got hitched, and have been adventuring together since. We're embarking on a new adventure of living big in a tiny home. Let's see how this goes.
Adventure awaits.
It's been 1 year since we officially left a place we each called home for so long to embark on the unknown adventure of building out and up a tiny home homestead on undeveloped land in Northern California. It's a bit incredible to think that where once was a spot to pitch our tent is now an almost complete tiny home. The road to get here was a challenging one, but we knew with our combined mental fortitude, we'd be able to persevere through whatever adventure awaited.
Oh my gosh, prayers answered!
With 2 shipping containers storing our household and shop belongings on one side of the property, we set out to make a shed shell a tiny home on the other, all while using our old fold-out couch as a bed under the open sky. Our ceiling was the Milky Way. We worked our way through iron-filled water, made the best of the triple-digit heat with very early mornings, good hydration, cool showers, and a kiddie pool, which actually only worked in theory because we were a little concerned with the iron content. Our showers upgraded from a pop-up privacy tent that wasn't very private to an outdoor spa-like shower we made with cedar planks and a garden hose that the afternoon sun would heat up for us. Talk about solar power. If it rained, we used a pop-up tent, hunkered down, and watched our favorite shows on an iPad. Laundry was done the old-fashioned way, and cooking usually consisted of grilled meat and salad or anything simple I could cook with our camp stove and jet boil. With one power line providing power to one side of the property, we had the luxury of a refrigerator and upright freezer, plus the ability to charge our phones, gadgets, and power tools for work the next day at the shed a quarter-mile away. This would be the future tiny home, running completely off solar and off-grid from the system. And here we are now. We still have a ways to go, but looking back, we have really come very far.
We came up here in July. It has been a calendar year since we left Southern California.
Yes, it has.
And a lot has happened.
We got everything situated with the shipping containers, or what we thought we needed to, and we were off to the races. We were like, okay, here we go. We're about to start cutting holes into the walls to make windows because it was 110 degrees and we were like, it's hot.
We can't work inside without a breeze of some kind.
Feels so much better right now.
But yeah, the windows were pretty.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
Running the electrical, then running the PEX in the
water,
walls.
yeah.
And
then we spent a lot of time picking up materials. We were doing a lot of finds on Craigslist. You got the lumber of all the 4x4s, which
have been coming in handy left and right.
we still have stuff left over. We got the insulation. We had to go to the coast for that.
That was a fun trip, like driving through the mountains and over the passes.
I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah, it would be nice.
But yeah, then we got going on like the insulation. That was a beast, doing that in 100-degree plus weather.
But it changed the temperature of the casita completely.
Yeah.
Because
that's when it started turning into the casita.
Yeah.
We went from shed to casita once we got the insulation set up, and we were noticing.
And once we bagged it, because we had to make sure that the insulation.
Yeah, the barrier for the moisture. But once we set all that up, we noticed like a 10 to 15 degree difference outside to inside.
Oh, and at the time I wasn't even working, so I was like fixing people's cars right there.
That's right.
I know. For Sergio, he needed a head gasket job, and that worked out great. And then our neighbors, they needed their brakes done, and then a couple other people needed some things. So I went out there in the field, in the wilderness, and fixing things.
We had fire. We had a ton of smoke here. That's when we escaped up to that little lake, and you did some fishing, and it was just nice and peaceful.
Yeah.
Knowing we would soon be gone for a long time, we were on a mission to complete the ceiling panels and planing, staining, and cutting the cedar for the wall planks.
Such a blur because we finished putting the carpet in the upstairs and then we left.
We just decided, let's just drive to Costa Rica.
For those of you that missed it, we drove south on a Pan American Highway road trip through California, through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and into Costa Rica with our friend Jimmy. It was incredible.
We're gonna have to go back to square one a little bit.
Then we ended up back in LA, and then we drove not
To
straight
Arizona.
back up here. We went to Arizona because we had to pick up solar panels, and then from Arizona,
The mighty mini dragged solar panels all the way from Arizona back.
I think total that month we drove like 6,000 miles.
No more. It was like 7,500.
I don't know, it was a lot. That's a lot in a month.
Yeah.
But we're here to tell the tale. So
I
if you
know.
want to catch up on that whole adventure of the Pan American road trip,
Go.
just go back to September or October of 2022.
Avoid Nicaragua.
No, go. Just watch the video before you go.
Yes.
All right, we arrived here at the border at 7 o'clock this morning, and it is currently 12:21. I'm in no man's land, but we're trying to get into Nicaragua. So then we got back, and it was October.
Yeah. Oh, God, it smells so good.
Oh, it smells like cedar in here.
We were gonna live, like we made the decision. We're moving in.
Well, we had to because it was turning cold.
I know. From there, I was like, all right, we need to put up the solar panels. I'm gonna wham bam this thing together. Ooh, no. There ain't no wham bams here. Not a single one. I've looked. They ain't around.
Everything takes time.
It ain't no
Something
whams.
always breaks.
No bams. Oh, there's plenty of bams, but no whams. There's no whams anywhere.
Well, you bammed the irrigation line.
That's all I got. I got another bams out
And
here.
you were able to bandage that together to get
Yes.
us through the winter.
Yes.
So, and fortunately, we didn't have to run the sprinklers, but you just wanted to make sure that it didn't damage the
Or
irrigation
freeze over,
lines. Yeah, freeze
yeah.
anything,
Oh.
have a major catastrophe with flooding or something like that.
Yeah.
So, then you did the hurricane ties to tie this down.
Oh yeah.
Because the winds here get really intense.
This little box will rattle like.
So just so you know, we have had questions on, is that stable? How it's on those, the...
Piers.
So mobile homes, for any of you who live in a mobile home situation.
Tell them.
Exact same thing. This is what's under your house. There should just be hurricane ties of some sort. So this is exactly what it is. There's just a pretty skirt around it that you can't see that you're on stilts.
Yeah.
Hope you feel safe tonight.
But from there, we got the mini stove up, and we didn't. We're trying to save money, but when you try to save money on important things, you end up spending more money than you should. Learning is a very expensive endeavor.
And it happened, getting everything installed just in time.
Yes, because we were able to stay warm.
Because that was our first storm. We got hail, we got snow.
And we found out that it was still cold in the house.
I mean, we just had to wear like 2 pair of socks, 3 hoodies.
It was damn cold. And we found out that most of our heat was escaping from the floor. Mind you, this is a plywood floor. Escaping. Escape. Cualquiera. So it was leaving the house through the floor. And so I was able to get down and under and put the insulation and then tack it up and make sure that it wasn't a little haven for vermin. So I was able to put these boards up and clean it up and tape it off, and we're set.
That changed.
Good.
That changed everything.
We gained an extra, 10 degrees? We gained 10 degrees because it was just seeping through the ground so much. So
then we had to head down to Southern California. You got the call.
I got the call.
We had some family stuff to tend to. So we went to SoCal.
And shenanigans ensued. Got together with family. We were able to handle things.
Moving forward.
There you
we
go.
got back.
Yeah.
It was end of January. It was cold. There were a lot of things broken because we were not expecting to be gone as long as we were. We didn't plan for all of this.
Things that you would think wouldn't move because of the wind moved.
Yeah. But it took us a week to recover from all of that, get everything back in order, and then you wanted to start right away on the battery shed because you wanted to finish the darn solar panel setup system. And we also needed a place to house all of the tools because at this point, this was barely, there was no deck, there was no anything. And we, because of the weather,
inside the house.
In the house, and then also at the shipping containers,
which is a quarter mile away.
And we couldn't leave things out overnight, so we had to bring everything out in the daytime and then put them all away at night or drive them to the other side. That in itself, just setting up and tearing down, took a long time.
Yeah. And then even then,
we just didn't want to be outside, so we would set up the fire, and then a storm would come in. It would be snowing, so we had to put everything away.
While Ruben focused on the battery shed build, I focused on installing the tile in the restroom as well as installing the shower pan liner and pebblestone shower floor.
She has the patience. Oh my goodness. I don't know why. I could explode a car completely apart and put it back together. I have that patience. But the thing about mortar is that when you move it and it doesn't go where you want it to, you have to be patient with it and just do the whole.
You were trying to force it in place.
Yes, because it's like, here's the part, go in, stay in.
He was like trying to wrench everything in, and I'm like, no, you gotta finesse. Use the
You're like paint.
Brush.
Exactly. She's the painter. I'm the chiseler.
We were then able to finally build the wall for the restroom and the shower.
Then it was time to finally install the floor. We did that. It turned out great. It was beautiful.
And Tasha broke her butt.
Hey, but
then what do you say? What do you do? You broke.
Anyway, I ripped a muscle. I couldn't walk. Scared the living daylights out of Ruben. And I decided to fall. Well, so we were in a rush to finish the floor because he was starting work the very next morning and he had to be there at 5:30 or 6.
And so spent the rest of the night finishing the floor because we ain't no quitters. And once we had that,
I was laid up.
Yeah, I was able to get you on the couch. The couch that you built.
I built that just in time.
Just
because our previous couch was just rolled up
carpet
padding that I put blankets over.
Yeah.
And then when we came back up from SoCal, I was like, we need something to just chill in here because the nights are long and this sitting like this on carpet padding does not work. So I built us a
she built herself her bed.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing bed.
Basically a twin size bed. So as I was healing, you were working and I was getting more and more mobile every single day.
Thankfully.
And I focused on little things that I could. You were focusing on getting up to speed on what you needed to for the job.
It was so interesting because I'm not just working on big trucks. I'm working on like excavators and dozers and things that you wish you could play with as a kid. And here I am, living my dream.
Since I was spending so much time inside while healing, Ruben wanted to focus on making the interior more comfortable and convenient, so we prioritized building the pantry and closet. Another game changer to not have to go to the shipping containers for our dry foods and clothes. Then
we had like a little lull. We didn't.
It was the sprinkler, the irrigation.
Oh, yes, that was the lull.
So, Ruben,
I was driving home I was driving
his
to
work
work.
truck, so it's heavy.
Yeah, I was driving to work, and Tasha calls me and says, "Hey, I think we have a spring." I'm like, "What do you mean?" "I have a 6-foot geyser coming out of the freaking road. What's going on?" It's like, "Oh no, I broke a sprinkler."
The awesome thing is you were able to get the backhoe
Yes.
from work.
That was a
They
big
let you
plus.
use it. But this was a learning curve, a Ruben learning. And we didn't know the irrigation lines. We had no idea what the grid system was. So we had no idea what we were digging, where we were digging, if it was a rock, if it was a pipe, because the rocks here are massive. And the damage
Oh my
went
gosh.
further. So we ended up having to replace like 30 feet. We had to go to Oregon basically to irrigation supply places and get it and come back. So the whole process took us about a month to fix.
Yep, because you put the pipe together and then you realize that you didn't do it right because it's leaking. And you can't have leaking pipe on a pasture. These plants will find any little spot where they can get moisture and they will work their way in.
With such a heavy amount of wonderful precipitation over the winter and spring, we had an abundance of vegetation to trim back before fire season, so our neighbor let us borrow a tractor.
We put some grass seed out, some native grass seed out at the beginning of spring.
Oh yeah,
So now we have
got a little old McDonald right here.
me in my overalls.
Like she has potatoes.
The taters are doing good.
What's taters, precious?
I've got serrano chili peppers. I've got green onions. I have rosemary. I've got thyme. I've got lavender. We've got the Three Sisters, which is corn, beans, squash. We've got sunflowers. But
E-I-E-I-O.
based on a suggestion, we've got pumpkin seeds in the ground. So hopefully we'll have some pumpkins this October.
It was at this point that we finally felt like we had the capacity to work full steam ahead on everything the irrigation lines cost us in time. Knowing summer was just around the corner, we installed the mini split first. We built a large deck in a weekend and sealed and painted the exterior the next. We installed our base cabinets and finally moved away from folding tables as our makeshift countertops. Up until recently, we were getting power to the casita by way of 2 small RV panels and 2 car batteries. This was initially designed just as a backup system, but it worked for us over the majority of winter and spring. However, knowing that we need more juice to run things, we were able to safely connect to the large solar array as an interim until we build the big battery system itself. This enabled us to move the refrigerator over and stop using the ice chest as an icebox. We have enough juice to run the AC, the refrigerator, and the computer all day long. The batteries hold enough at night to charge our phones, run a fan, and keep the refrigerator plugged in. We moved the propane tank over so that we can, hopefully soon, connect our oven and range, which means no more camp stove cooking.
To a point where
But
we're
here's
not
the thing,
having to
we
do it
jumped
so
over
much.
one of the most important things that happened. So while I was building the shed for the solar system and the water tank and the water, like all that wonderful stuff, which is hopefully going to be happening very, very soon. We were in the dead of winter and I was working and I was getting very, very dirty. So we were taking baths out of a crock pot.
We would heat up the water on a fire outside.
Yes, and
Take
we
it
would
into
take
the
it.
shower.
Yes, and we would mix it with the cold water that we had. So it
Because
was.
I did get burned.
I got burned too, and we would take cup baths. Like we would just put cups over us.
There's a different phrase, but I won't say that here. But
Yeah, but we would just take a hobo bath. There you
Yes.
go, and that got old very quickly. So we purchased a camping water heater that had its own electric pump. And so we would hook that up to our batteries that were inside the house and get the water out of a bucket,
a 5-gallon bucket.
a 5-gallon bucket. And it would just turn on and create beautiful, so warm and soothing water.
But it was limited, right? Because you turn it on, get wet, turn it off, set up, do all the things, turn it back on, rinse off, get out. So
yeah, you burned through 5 gallons pretty quick.
So we were limiting it to like less than 2 gallons per person per shower.
Yeah.
So, yeah. For, I guess, comparison, the average shower that is in the average home burns through 7 gallons per minute. So just think about how long you stand in the shower and how much awesome, warm, hot, cold running water you have at your demand.
Yeah, I couldn't even get like halfway through my favorite song. I would already have to be gone. I'd be like, tell me what you want, what you really, oh.
But that was like a bump up in being civilized for us. And over the summer, it was not a big deal because the water hose would heat up with the summer sun. So we had hot water naturally from the sun. But then the minute it got cold, that water wasn't running. It literally froze in the...
Well water is
icy
nice.
cold.
Nice and cold.
So there was an interim period to where we had to just make sure that every few days we were renting rooms and we would shower at truck stops. There's a couple truck stops in the area and we just go and shower at the truck stops.
Ain't no
that's how we did
shame.
it.
Ain't no shame.
Gotta get clean.
The 5-gallon bucket system only worked for so long, so we got our hands on an oak barrel with a much larger capacity. Our showers are now almost normal. As I go through the footage and put this together, I can't help but get choked up and feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Although it's been a calendar year, our hands-on workdays equaled about 8 months. There is certainly a sense of satisfaction in working as hard as we have and to see how far we have come. As I reflect on all of these moments, and I think I can speak for both of us, it's not really pride welling up. It's actually humility that we would be graced with the opportunity for such a task as this. At no time in our lives did we ever picture something this awesome. This is just the beginning. There is still so much to do, and the unknown adventure that God has awaiting for us, well, we're waiting on His blessings with open hands and with open hearts. For those of you that have been following along on our journey over the last year, thank you. It's been so much fun to be able to share this incredible journey with you. And for those of you who may have stumbled upon our channel or who are new at watching this adventure, thank you for joining us. We hope that whatever the future brings for us, you'll get something out of it too. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.